season, Jayson Tatum averaged 37.5 percent from the 3-point line on 9 attempts, 9.3, and made 3.5 a game. You're shooting way too many threes. You're way too good around the basket and in the mid-range to shoot that many threes. I understand that you want the X's and O's of the game, the psychology of the game. You want the defense to respect the fact that you can shoot threes. They know you can shoot threes. They know you can hit threes. But you are there. He's been having these patches where he goes 0 for 7, 0 for 6, 0 for 8, and he just keeps on chucking. Get to the basket. There's nobody over there that can sufficiently guard Jayson Tatum if he decides he wants to be aggressive and go into the basket. That's just my opinion, though.
I agree.
Anything between the elbow on in, Jayson Tatum can damn near get at will, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my opinion. You gotta work them, man. You gotta work them. You gotta get Jimmy Butler out of the game, get him in foul trouble because you know he's gonna be your primary defender, right? Go at him. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on it. But I do believe ultimately that Boston is going to pull this shit out and they're going to end up in the championship.
Okay, Tall Q.
I'm going with Miami.
Ooh.
I already said it like when the series started.
What does Miami have to do to win this game?
I feel like Miami isn't fazed by pressure as much as Boston is. I feel as though that if the only way that Boston will win is if they don't allow Miami to control the momentum of the game, even if they're home, because it really does it doesn't faze Miami, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really faze them. And considering like Jimmy Butler just being Miami Heat just being the most clutch team in the NBA, how they've been playing in the playoffs, I don't know. It's just like, how likely is it for them not to win another game at the 1-3? Like, okay, they just sat and lost 3 straight. I just feel like just the way the NBA is, just how like just the NBA usually goes. I just feel like Miami is just still going to win. Like it's not in the script. You know what I'm saying? Like I got a sneak peek of the script. You know what I'm saying? I got a man's that know a man's, and I don't see it. I don't see it working in Boston favors. It sounds good. It sounds so good. Just like both teams going to get swept in the conference finals for the first time in history. Like that type of stuff. Like it just doesn't happen that way. Like it just sounds too good to be true. Like
can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I jump in real quick? I'm going to say something that might sound like a hot take, but I want y'all to give me your opinions on this. I know how people feel about Jimmy Butler, but I've never viewed Jimmy Butler as a tier 1 superstar.
Me neither.
I've never viewed him as a tier 1 superstar. Jimmy Butler has these because I'm actually about to explain why. Jimmy Butler in let's take these last 3 games for example, right? Mm-hmm. These last 3 games, Jimmy Butler has almost absolutely disappeared. A lot of people that do sports commentary on TV said it was the first time since last year that they seen Jimmy Butler look completely checked out, like he didn't want anything to do with being on the floor. Okay, mentally, you could see that on the TV that he was not as engaged. It was almost like he didn't want the ball. We're like, wait a minute, Jimmy, hold on, what are you doing? Like, this is your time. You are the guy. There is nobody else on the floor that can do anything remotely close to what Jimmy Butler can do from an offensive standpoint. That name isn't Tyler Hero, but Tyler Hero isn't playing. So Jimmy Butler has had games like that consistently in the playoffs throughout his career, not just this year, not just last year, not just the year before that. This has happened consistently. I've never viewed him, even on this Miami team. I look at this team as a strength in numbers type of situation. He's the primary guy, but I don't view him as the guy on this team. I don't look at him like that.
The only reason why I will label Jimmy Butler as a tier 1 superstar is because you had to look at where he's been since he's left Chicago. Like, when he went to the Timberwolves, when he went with Philly, like he's always had his foot in the door. Like he's always had that. Like And then look at like where everybody thought Jimmy Butler was going to be when he went to Miami. When they seen him sign that 5-year contract with Miami, everybody was like, what is he doing? Like, what are you doing? You obviously don't want a championship. First year there, he went to the.
I didn't say that.
Yeah. But a lot of people did. It was like kind of like how people looked at CP3 when he went to the Suns. And then the Suns ended up being the first seed in the league.
I
Like,
didn't say either. But
I'm just going
sorry.
off of what I'm just going off of like what I like see, like based off like just what like you know what I'm saying. When you look at it on the social media, you see how people comment and what people say. I'm just going off based on what I've seen. And to be honest, Jimmy Butler has always took that role and always took his team to higher levels. Like it can't be nobody else. Jimmy Butler has always been in the playoffs. He's always been getting to the semifinals, the conference finals every year. I think it was like 1 year he got.
Okay, so can I rebuttal with this? How many teams are trading or letting go tier 1 players?
Besides KD.
Besides KD and Kyrie Irving.
But again, it's what are those players coming with? Are they the person that demanded the trade from those specific
This is why
teams?
I label any player that can go to a team and make that team a way better, actually a championship contender team. We can't say Miami is not a championship contender team right now because they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. They are one step away to the championship. They have made it all the way here from having a mediocre season. Then they made it from the play-in. They took the number one team out. Like, it has to be because of somebody. It can't be because Jimmy Butler is playing at a level that is carrying his team to the championships. You can't label that not as a tier 1 superstar. It's people that are better than Jimmy Butler that ain't even doing that themselves.
I feel you, but I also think that context matters. They beat the number 1 seed when they were missing Giannis for 3 games. When he came back dealing with a back injury that I'm 100% sure he wasn't 100% healed from when he did come back. They got to the second. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from, but I always think that whenever we talk about these types of situations, context does matter. It's like
the reason why
you beat this team, but this guy wasn't there to see you on X amount of games. And I am more than sure that if Giannis is there that entire series, it probably goes differently. So that's just my opinion, and it's not me taking away from. It's not me saying that I don't think I don't think Miami is a talented team. It's not me saying that I don't think they were capable of doing some good things. But I just don't think that is the case. They were the number 1 seed for a reason until that guy got injured. I think that through and through, top to bottom, I think that Milwaukee's roster was better, and Giannis is head and shoulders better than any player on both teams. So to me, it's like I respect Jimmy Butler and I applaud his efforts, which to me, I cannot, even when he played. I mean, well, maybe this is unfair because he came in with Derrick Rose. Maybe it's unfair to compare the two, but there was no point in his tenure in Denver. In Chicago, where I was like, he might be that guy. It was no point when he was in Minnesota was like, they still leaned on Karl Anthony Towns. While Jimmy Butler was like the spirit of the team, they still said, yeah, we still need Karl to go for 40.
Just to butt in right now. Yes, I couldn't say all those things when he was on Sixers or the Timberwolves or Chicago, but I can say that now in Miami. I can say he's top.
Literally,
that's fair.
Because of specifically because 2020.
Jimmy Butler has already Jimmy Butler has already put Giannis out the playoffs before. This is not something that didn't happen already. He done already put Giannis out the playoffs. And then the problem wasn't the injury of Giannis coming back. The problem was the coaching. They didn't put Giannis on Jimmy Butler. And Giannis had expressed that he was just like, I don't know what they was thinking on the coaching staff. It was bad coaching. It was a lot wrong. You feel me? The way they were playing, the way that Miami was playing the Bucks in the playoffs, bro, it really looked like it didn't even matter if Giannis was healthy. The way the efficiency that the Miami Heat was bringing. Who did they play? Who did they play next? I want to say the Knicks. Was it the Knicks?
The next year.
That was the most efficient series of the playoffs. They both were shooting over 70% from the field goal. The Knicks and the Heat. And it was just considering the fact that the Heat was up, the Knicks couldn't come up. Because every time the Knicks scored, the Heat was scored. It's just like the way that they were playing, you had to look at who's the floor general of this? Who is the mastermind behind them?
Well,
Be somebody.
what's wrong with Jimmy Butler right now? Where is he at right now? These last 3 games.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Bro,
where is
right.
he?
If he's a little gas, then
I'm before you answer, I want to say that I do agree with you, bro. Like the point that you just to reiterate your point, he does make his teammates better, and that does make you a tier 1 player. To me, like I can't argue with that, right? But right now they need him. And to Spaz's point, there has been a history of this. This is one of the reasons why Philly got rid of him. When we all gas and be like, why is Philly getting rid of him for Tobias Harris? It's because Tobias Harris has shown more of a role player of what they needed, what the Sixers needed, versus what Jimmy Butler's leadership skills was able to do. Like right now, that's kind of exposing. Like Celtics is kind of exposing that right now because they need him. So they needed him to close that shit out. It was 3-0. They was up 3-0. They needed Jimmy Butler only, because he was the reason, one of the sole reasons why they were 3-0, and they needed him to close it out. So like that's one of the reasons why he's kind of on the chopping block for being not.
Hold on, fellas. We got 3 minutes on this topic, and then we're gonna switch to our next one. Y'all can go ahead.
I wouldn't say it was Jimmy Butler. You have to understand he utilized his assets, and his assets showed up. And then on top of that, Boston was selling themselves with turnovers and offensive fouls. At the end of the day, you feel me? Jimmy Butler is going to do what he needs to do every game. You know what I'm saying? As far as
that hasn't been the case the past 3 games.
Yeah, as far as these past 3 games, you know what I'm saying? You playing the Boston Celtics. You know what I'm saying? Boston Celtics is a great team, especially in the East. They're one of the best teams.
Yeah,
they're basically the best team in the East. You know what I'm saying? They're going to focus on Jimmy Butler, regardless.
And as a tier 1 guy, you have to find a way to get by that shit. Like you can't be a tier 1 dude. You can't be a tier 1 dude and disappear for 3 games in a row in a closeout game.
And you can't be a tier 1 dude if a whole team had to focus on one guy to win games. You gotta understand. You gotta look at it like they're how they're looking at it. They're like, what can we do to stop Jimmy Butler, one guy? They're not talking about the Miami Heat. You can't be a tier 1 player not putting fear in people's heart like that on the court. They are coming back. Yes, they are coming back. But like I said, even if they lose the series, what do they win? They win the same thing as everybody else won that loss. You know what I'm saying? That 3 wins coming back don't even mean nothing if Miami win this game. They're gonna give.
The reason why Boston is focusing on Jimmy Butler is because on the floor currently, without Tyler Hero, he is recognized as the primary offensive threat. That does not necessarily make him a tier 1 dude. In Alpha, let me give you my tier 1. LeBron is a tier 1. Luka is a tier 1. Kevin Durant is a tier 1. Guys like that who, no matter what you do, they're going to get theirs. They're not going to be they're not going to be the reason that you lose because they didn't show up in some way. These 3 games are close out games to get to the championship, and he has not shown up. And I'm a Jimmy Butler fan. I fuck with yo. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss at these. I didn't mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like Jimmy Butler. I like his character. I like what he tries to do on the court in terms of bringing his teammates along. But this is in terms of his individual performance. This is par the course for what has happened to him in the playoffs throughout his career.
Does that same pressure apply to Jayson Tatum? Because does that same pressure apply to Jayson Tatum? Because now they both have to close out the game. You know what I'm saying? And granted, yeah, I mean, Jimmy Butler had a whole 3 games to do it, but in the same sense, Jayson Tatum done lost 3 games straight first. So where do you Jayson Tatum, I know we could all agree Jayson Tatum's a tier 1 player.
We can, yes, we can. I am.
Where does that leave him, considering the fact that you lost 2 games at home? You lost 2 games at home, and then, I mean, you lost 1 game away, and then now, what is it? They going back and forth now? But at the end of the day,
quick response, and then we got to switch the topic, fellas.
All right. I'm gonna just say this. I think one big difference between Jayson Tatum and Jimmy Butler is Celtics is not about to trade Jayson Tatum away. Not gonna happen. Not in any way, shape, or form. He is retiring the Celtics.
He's younger. He's more offensively gifted, and you can build a team around him for the future. You probably can't say the same thing about Jimmy Butler at this point.
Everybody that's on Jimmy Butler's team is young. It's when he went to Miami, everybody on his team was young. You didn't even have a player that was over 23.
But are they Jayson Tatum? That's the thing. Is if they're not Jayson Tatum, if they're not of J.
Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo.
All right, fellas. We got to switch this.
I like that one.
I like it too. It was intense. You feel me? You had a lot of funny faces that he was making throughout the whole time.
I'm sorry, yo.
It's good, y'all.
I wear my emotions on my sleeve.
This why this episode was going to be a great episode because of all of that. But right now we got 18 minutes left, and I want to dedicate these 18 minutes to the boxing fans. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And it's a topic that I didn't tell none of y'all about. Y'all know we gotta talk about Loma and Haney. That's the one I let y'all know about. And everybody gonna give their, quick analysis on how they felt about that fight. But we gonna talk about this Earl Spence Burns Crawford fight. But let's start with our special guest, man. How you feel about the Loma Haney fight, man? What that mean?
You know what, man?
Keep it real.
So here's the thing. Disclaimer. I did not watch the fight. However, I went back the day after the fight and watched the full fight. So I didn't watch it live, but I watched it on YouTube afterwards, the day after and shit. And the conclusion that I came to was that there needs to be a rematch. I don't think that anybody won that fight definitively. However, as I was observing, it looked to me like Lomachenko was in control in a lot of points throughout those rounds, which is why I could see a lot of people had their gripes about the final ruling on it, including Stephen A. Smith. Some pro boxers, Bernard Hopkins talked about it. You have people, Colin Cowherd talked about it. Nick Wright talked about it. I think that there needs to be a rematch between those guys because it was way too even to call left or right. And I know that's, the next thing that people were clamoring about after that was Gervonta Davis versus Devin Haney. After watching that fight,
you ain't ready.
I don't know if Devin Haney is prepared to take a counter right from Gervonta Davis. I don't know if he's prepared.
He probably can't.
I don't know if he's prepared. Yeah, I don't know about that. So what I would like to see if we're gonna have, because this made me less enthusiastic about their fight. If we're gonna have a Haney versus Tank, I need to see Haney versus Lomachenko part 2 first. I need to see Devin Haney beat Lomachenko definitively before I see him move on to Tank. It's funny because Tank is not in the top 10 in the ESPN rankings.
I was going to say something
He's
about
not.
that.
He's not. He's not there, bro.
Yeah, I have a huge problem with that, bro.
That to
I
me
don't
is
understand
interesting.
why.
No. Because and here's why, and I'll jump on this and then I'll hand it off to you, Neil. Here's why he's not on there is because a lot of people, especially the Vegas odd bettors, did not view Ryan Garcia as being in the same tier as Tank. So they felt like he was fighting lesser talent at the time. Now, do I think that Tank had a leg up? That they grade you according to who you fight, not how many fights, who you fight. So if Devin beats Lomachenko, he moves up. Remember, Neil, if you've seen it, Lomachenko is no longer in the top 10.
No,
he's not there. He's off the rankings. So to me, if I'm going to see Haney, or let's reverse it. If we want to see Tank move into top 10 on the rankings, then we're going to have to see him accept a fight from Haney if it's feasible, if they can come to an agreement on the numbers and everything like that. But I did think it was interesting that Ryan versus Tank was pegged as one of the biggest fights in the past 5 years, and then after he beats Garcia, he's still not in the top 10. I did think that was a little weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
And then
I'm
sorry, and then the piggyback, it's also weird because I do want to see Loma and Haney fight again because of the same reason you just said. But it's funny that I want to see them fight again because it's really just so Haney can fight Tank, who's not on the top 10, or he is. They did update a recent picture where he is on the top 10, but he's extremely low, right?
Like 9 or some shit.
Yeah. So how I feel about the fight is I see everybody. Everybody is saying pretty much the same thing. Loma won. Loma controlled the fight, and I watched the fight. I watched the fight up until the first 7 rounds live. Then I went back, and it was the last 4 rounds that I missed, which is what people were saying Loma won the fight. And at that time, for me, right, I felt as if those last 4 rounds that Loma won or was tightly contested was too late. I do not agree with the scorecard at all. I agree with you, Spaz, when you say that it was too close. But I gave the slight edge to Haney for a couple reasons. One, Haney is the champion and Loma is the challenger. And to fight a champion, you have to have an impression on the judges. You can't just be out there it's not all about how many punches you land. It's also about making an impression on the judges. And yes, you are controlling the fight, but then you are controlling the fight during the last part of the fight. What were you doing the beginning and the middle of the fight and the rest of those rounds? Haney was throwing body shots and throwing counter punches in the beginning of the fight, and he's the champion. So therefore, they're going to swing his way. That's just how boxing works. I honestly believe that the science of boxing has gotten so out of control since Mayweather, since 2015. Mayweather's team came in, and Mayweather has shown that the control of boxing and making an impression on the judges matters to boxing. Mm-hmm. Because that is one of the only reasons why Haney won that fight. Mm-hmm. And was able to sway the judges any type of way. It's going to seem as if Loma is beating him up, but that is not what matters. Mm-hmm. Especially when you are a champion. If you are not knocking out a champion, you are considered losing. Period. Like that's just how it is. Like you can beat him up all you want. If he is making an impression on the judges by controlling that fight in any single way, they're gonna swing it his way.
The,
They're gonna swing it his way. And
I-
again, I to answer the Haney and Tank question, how I feel about Haney and Tank is again, I do want to see him fight Loma again. To pretty much prove to boxing fans, because that's pretty much what it will be, is proving to boxing fans that he can beat them definitively. But I don't think Tank's gonna lose a fight. And I think that he should be at least in the top 5 or 6 pound for pound best fighters.
I'll have him around 7. I think 7 is fair. Around 6 or 7 is fair, but those top 5 dudes, man.
You talking
seeing
about
that list, man.
Spencer
Yeah.
and Bud? They're
Yeah,
gonna be
man. That
these guys gonna be performed, of course.
yeah.
So
Yeah, top 5
what's your
is
take,
serious.
bro? What's your take on the fight? And then we can jump into Errol Spence and Terrence.
Me personally, I think Lomachenko won, but I can see why they gave it to Devin Haney because, all right, so the first round, Devin Haney did take control first round. You know what I'm saying? It's early, it's fresh, and obviously Devin Haney is a stronger puncher. However, every round between the first and 12th round, me as a fan, I'm going to go with Lomachenko. But you have to see in between them rounds where it was like, because Devin Haney, he just had them counter punches and them. It was kind of like that Mayweather versus Pacquiao effect. Like you could tell Devin Haney, he was playing passive and he was just waiting for the open up. However, Lomachenko, he opened Devin Haney up way more. He heard him at the end. And it was like he just had Devin Haney all the way figured out. And it got to a point where all Devin Haney could do was throw that right body hook. And then after a while, you started seeing that was his only go-to. Like Devin Haney, like, for example, it was one blow where basically Devin Haney was prepared for that right, you feel me, that right jab. So what he did, he tried to go under it and throw the uppercut. But it was just the fact that Lomachenko's fist is right here in your face. Yep. And as soon as Devin Haney even thought about throwing a punch, jab straight to the head, like quick. And Lomachenko just had him figured out all match. But that 12th round really was the deciding factor out there. I said after that 11th round was over, I said if he don't knock Devin Haney out, Devin Haney got it. And it was just the fact that even when Lomachenko even got close to even having an edge, Devin Haney kind of like took it away from him by still like applying that pressure. You know what I'm saying? Just to give him the edge enough to walk away with the win, because you seen he wasn't sure about it while they was, you feel me, at the end of the fight. You seen he wasn't sure. But it was just the fact that, yeah, I mean, he just survived and he was able to just, keep throwing them, like as if he wasn't affected. He played it off like he wasn't getting beat up. And that's how he got that win. But really, Loma was putting them hands on that man, like all the way. And then as the smaller fighter too, like you're not even cock diesel like Devin or nothing. And he's coming at you. He's coming straight at you. To be honest, yeah, Devin Haney, I don't think he's ready for Tank at all. I don't even think he's ready for Shakur. I really don't like the way Devin Haney fights. I really don't wait. I don't. I really don't, bro. I don't think like Loma said, he's really not a pound for pound fighter, bro. He's really not, and he has no power. He don't got no power. How you gonna knock Tank out? You don't got no power.
He's got 20. What is that? 30. How many fights has he had? He's 29 wins, and
it should be no reason.
27 KOs. He got power, yo.
Bro, Loma was eating them body hits like they was chicken sandwiches. He even said it at the end of the fight. Like, I mean, he's just not a pound for pound fighter. Like, he's just not. And I seen that. I really did. And I already had my little questions about Devin Haney already, but after watching that Loma fight, nah, he gonna get exposed trying to fight Tank. And like not to just get off the topic, but like Adrian Broner, he actually witnessed them. Like he witnessed them spar, and he said Tank almost knocked him out. Tank almost knocked him out. They had to walk on the ring in the ring, and he said, "Yeah, this is with practice gloves and with head equipment, but without that, if it's a real fight, bye, Devin. Devin getting going to sleep. You know what I mean? Like Tank's power is too much."
So my take on my biggest problem with the Loma Haney fight, you feel me, is, bro, Loma is 35 years old, bro. Exactly. You are young and in your prime. I was expecting you to punish his ass. Exactly. It shouldn't have been that close in my mind, you feel me, as far as the hype behind Devin Haney's career, all the belts and all that. I felt like he should have fought way better than he did against Loma, being a 35-year-old, and don't quote me on this, but I don't think he fought in a long time either. So this was his first fight coming back since the dinosaurs was here. You get what I'm saying? Could have really beat you. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think Devin Haney's a great fighter. You get what I'm saying? But I do think it was a couple things that Loma kind of figured out. And to what Q was saying, Loma pretty much said once he felt Devin Haney's most powerful punch, he knew that it wasn't going to knock him out. So that kind of made him more confident as far as stepping in. You get what I'm saying? And being able to take the shots. But Devin Haney got power. I'm not going to say he don't got power. These are professional boxers. If they were any regular human right now, we probably curl up. You feel me?
Yeah, like, I know. Yeah. Most definitely.
I definitely think they got power. But last 5 minutes, you feel me, into the show. Once again, I want to thank everybody on the live stream. I want to thank Spaz Degree for being a great guest, you feel me, on the show. Neil and Tall Q, y'all know we here every Friday and Sunday. Yes, I want to end it, you feel me, with Spaz Degree, and I want to really get your opinion on this Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight. Like, what do you think is going to go down? Who do you got winning? This might be the fight of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes to decision.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fight goes to decision. I think that both are really, really good fighters. I'm gonna go back to your point about Lomachenko and Devin. Both of those guys are tremendous fighters. So I wasn't expecting any of those guys to knock anybody out. It's gonna come down to who puts together good rounds. Who's gonna put together a decent round in order to and take it to the scorecard. We're not talking about we're talking about technical boxes here. We're not talking about George Foreman and, Tyson Fury. We're not talking about guys like that. We're talking about guys who are going to stand in the ring and they're going to massage it out. They're going to try to figure out. It's the same shit that Gervonta does. When people say, oh, Gervonta Davis going to knock him out in the first round, like, yo, that's not Gervonta Davis' game. Mm-hmm. He fought under Floyd Mayweather for years. That's not his game, bro. He's going to go in there. He's going to analyze you for the first 4 or 5 rounds. Come round 6 through 8, that's when you are most prone to get knocked out, because then by then he'll have you timed up. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly see this thing going to a decision. I don't even like to see people get knocked out in these mega fights. I like to see it go to the very end. I want to see all 12. I want to see all 12 because I want to see who's going to put together better rounds, who's going to put together good combinations, who can survive getting knocked down, who's going to get up, right? When Ryan Garcia got, when Tank hit Ryan with that body shot, I'm like, oh man, I really want him to get up, but we've seen that story before. We've seen that happen. We've seen Ryan Garcia knock out Luke Campbell the same way with that same body shot, right? Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't want anybody to get knocked out. So I'm going to say decision. That's what it's going to be. If you want me to give you a winner, I don't know, because I think that either one of them could beat each other.
All right, 1:50 left is on y'all to Q and Neil.
I'm gonna just leave it short. I'm gonna go Bud. But I'm gonna go. It's gonna be as close of a fight as Haney and Loma was. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna be one-sided at all, man. I can't wait for the fight. Just like I couldn't wait for the Devin Haney and Loma fight, because I knew, just like what Spaz said, I get it. Like, these boxers are great. Nobody wants to lose. They're gonna try to figure each other out. Who's gonna be too late? Who's gonna be too early? It's technical. So I agree, Spaz. Same thing, but I'm gonna give a slight edge to Bud because he's a little more aggressive, but they're both aggressive. So I don't know. All right, that's for me. Q.
But
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with. Yo, I don't know, bro. I'm gonna just go with the. I'm gonna just go with the champ, bro. I'm gonna have to, bro, because at the end of the day, it's starting to seem like E-Raw Spence Jr. He's just trying to like prove himself, kind of like it's like he's trying to play catch up. I don't know, bro. I just like they're just like the same fighter to me, bro. Like I just don't know, bro. Like it's like they could really just it could go either way. Like I really just don't want to get on here and just say a bunch of BS. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say like, yeah, it can go either way. Like
10 seconds.
like, just to give y'all that, I'm going with the chat.
And I'm going Earl Spence too. Make sure y'all like and subscribe, man.
Yeah.